we'll see some performance improvement tips also today to understand that how basically we can improve the performance of the Snowflake. First of all, your most suitable setup will be basically, so as we know, like your virtual warehouses, we already have covered this one. So your virtual warehouses is the most effective part to improve your performance. Simple thing, your virtual warehouses are the most effective part of your to improve your performance. Like if you go to the configure section, you have the option to increase the size, right? You have the option to increase the cluster number, right? So these are all the things are available. Now when we increase the size of the virtual warehouse, whenever we are about to run more complex queries. So that means if your complexity of the query will be increased, we will be increasing the size. Similarly, if your complexity of the query will be decreased, we will be decreasing the size. That is what we do generally. Similarly, if I talk about the cluster number, we increase the cluster whenever multiple users at the same time accessing the virtual warehouse, and we decrease the number of the cluster whenever the less number of users are accessing the servers or virtual warehouse. Okay, so generally this is the two setup that we do and that we handle to improve the performance mostly. Okay, so but still there is an some process that we need to maintain. First one is the use a separate warehouse. What does it mean? It means, let's say in your organization you have separate teams working. Maybe one person, maybe some team is working as a basically, let's say, developer. Okay, some team is separately working as a tester. Some people are working as a BI. Some people are working as a whatever I can say, like any data science or data analyst or kind of part or something like that. Okay, so maybe different teams are working with different way. Basically, different team we have in a project, and different teams are working. Now, developer people's requirement will be maybe little bit different. Tester people's working might be little bit different. BI people's process might be little bit different, and data analyst people's activity will be little bit different. Now, what Snowflake is advising: create separate warehouse for each team. Don't make a same warehouse for everyone. So if developer people are working, so let's say I have W1 warehouse, I have given access to the developer people. Now let's say tester people are working, now I have given the access to the tester people. Now let's say another warehouse I have, that is W3, I have given to the BI people. Let's say another team is working, which I have given W4 warehouse privilege. Now what they are saying, don't give one warehouse to everyone. If you are giving one warehouse to everyone, then what will happen? Then every people will be accessing that particular warehouse. Now whenever every people will be accessing to that particular warehouse, what is the drawback we will get? The drawback is load will be high on the warehouse. So basically load will be high on that particular warehouse, and that's the reason whatever the performance that warehouse should show us, that won't be able to show. So we will not get that exact performance whatever we are expecting. So that is the reason we don't want any shared resource. We want basically the specific the role or specific group of people will be working on a specific virtual warehouse, so that the load will be minimized and the performance will be maximized. So that is the reason it is saying use separate warehouse for each group. Okay, similarly, point number 2 is basically scale up and scale out. So as I told you this thing just now, that whenever we wants to run a more complex query, we will be using higher size of a warehouse. So large, extra large, so whatever it is, so bigger size of warehouse we will be using. And whenever the complexity will be less, we will be basically decreasing the size as well. Now whenever we will be increasing the size, that means whenever our warehouse size will be increased, basically what will happen, your price will also be increased. because extra large size of warehouse will take 16 credits per hour, where X small size of warehouse will take 1 credits per hour. Your size will be increased. Similarly, your cost will also be increased, and whenever your size will be decreased, your cost will also be decreased, right? Let's say you have separate team in your organization like developer, tester, BI, data analyst. Now every people's needs are not same. Every people's needs are not same. Maybe developer people, maybe for an example, let's say minimum size of developer and tester people, let's say minimum size of virtual warehouse is enough for them. Okay, so let's say I go for the small one for them. Let's say I'm writing here small size of virtual warehouse. As per their requirement, whatever query, whatever task they are performing, for them smaller size of virtual warehouse is fine. For BI people, maybe I selected as a medium size of virtual warehouse, and for data analyst people I selected as a maybe large size of virtual warehouse. Now you just understand, let's say I given this large size of, I created this large size of W4 warehouse and I provided the access to all of them. That means I'm not separating the virtual warehouse to group wise. What I'm doing, I'm creating one warehouse and I'm providing this access to all of them. Now what will happen, for data analyst people the large size of virtual warehouse is justified, but for developer who are all basically small size of warehouse will be sufficient for them. If I'm providing W4 access to them, definitely it will be the waste of money, because they need the small size of virtual warehouse. We are giving large size of virtual warehouse to them, so definitely it will be the loss of money, waste of money. So that's the reason basically this separation is very important, that different type of virtual warehouse will be separated to different group, each based on their needs. Each virtual warehouse will be assigned to their respective group, whatever they want, whatever their requirement. If their requirement is this, we will be creating a separate virtual warehouse and provide to them. If you go to the account section, what is the benefit is basically we can see end of the month, we can see that which virtual warehouse has taken how much credit. So this one has taken this much credit, this one has taken this much credit. So we can understand, okay, let's say W1 assigned to BI people, computer underscore WH assigned to developer people. Now we'll understand, okay, developer people consume this much of credit. Now your BI people consume this much of credit. So group wise we can segregate the thing. It will be very easy for us to understand that which group is basically we are paying how much money for each group. Like that we can generate the report and we can go through those and to find out some more better solution, right? So that's the reason this is also very important. And apart from that, that scale out and scale in process, so basically whenever the, let's say we are going to write a more complex queries and bigger complex queries which will be dealing with the huge tables, billions records are there and all. So basically in those cases we will be increasing the size. Let's say we have given the developer W1 warehouse access which is having the small size of warehouse. Now it can be possible that developers people are maybe they are gonna fire some query which is the huge query, okay, or maybe they are loading the data and now they got a huge file, they want to load the data. Now in that case they needs the bigger size of virtual warehouse. Similarly, so what I can do, I can go to the warehouse section and whatever I assign to the developer, I can go to the configure section and I can increase the size. Maybe it was a small, so I increase the size to the maybe the medium, maybe the large. Okay, so this is what we call scale up, and whenever we will be decreasing the size, this is what we call scale down. Now scale up and scale down is also required for improving the performance. So what is the situation is, let's say I created with small size of virtual warehouse. Now after some time I realized that the small size of virtual warehouse is taking longer time. So after that what we do, we just increase the size to improve the performance. So what will happen, the size will be improved, more number of servers will be added, and basically the performance will be improved. So in these cases basically this is what we call scale up, scale down. And similarly if your cluster numbers and you are increasing or decreasing, that is what we call scale out, scale in. Okay, and these are all is important to improve the performance. Whenever more number of users will be hitting on the servers, so what will happen, basically you need the scale out scale in process, because the whenever the more number of users will be hitting the virtual warehouse, so it will be used by concurrent users, and to handle the concurrent users we need to increase the number of clusters, so that your query will not be in a queue. Whenever your query will be in a queue, it will be basically you will be feeling the performance issue. So that's the reason your query should not be in a queue, and if you increase your number of cluster, your query will not be in a queue. But yeah, you have to take care of your budget as well. So you cannot go out of the budget or out of beyond the budget, so your budget also should be considered. Okay, so this is how generally by using virtual warehouse we can handle the we can maintain the performance.